Are you in the shot?
No.
There you go. You look like Batman.
Cat lady.
Cat lady. Yeah. Okay, anybody here yet? I can't see with these glasses. Nobody here yet. Oh, well, that could be me. No.
No, it's 3 now.
Oh,
4.
it's not showing. Oh, okay. Hello, whoever. It's Walter's birthday. Woo! Happy birthday. How old are you now? How old are you now?
Same age as you.
You're 61, but yeah. It's the time of the year when we're both the same age. I have to take these off so I can see what I'm doing. Put my other ones on.
They look just as stupid.
Oh,
anyways.
fuck up. Bite me. Nairi says, good morning and happy birthday. It's nice, Nairi, that you got the day off. So what's the holiday over there? Is it a special kind of thing or something? Well, if it's a holiday, I guess it would be. And who else is here? We've got 5 people now. So we'll just give everybody a few minutes here to get caught up with us. Australia Day. Oh, okay. So that must be the same as sort of what we call Canada Day.
Yeah.
Mel's here. Hi, Mel. And she says, happy birthday, Walter.
Thank you.
Yeah, you do look like one of those characters from the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, he went...
to have, what's that, do the time warp.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I should have had that on, except we wouldn't be monetized then. Jody's here. Hi, Jody. And she says, happy birthday. Bootsy Sweet Tarts is here. Roy. Hi, Roy. Hello, gentlemen. Going to stay with you as long as we can before the kids get here. Looking good. Okay, and Phyllis is here. And she says, happy birthday, Walter.
Thank you.
And Cindy's here. And she says, happy birthday, Walter. Looking sexy as always. He's yours. Take him. So, yeah. So, what are we doing for Walter's birthday? Well, I gave him an exciting gift this morning. It was a card that I did not buy at the dollar store. And it was, actually, I paid full price for it. That was a $4.69 card. I don't usually buy those kind of cards because they're expensive. But the problem was, I didn't have any time or chance to get out to get him a
considering
card.
I drive him all over the place.
Yeah, he was driving Ms. Daisy on Friday. But I had to pick up my drugs at Shoppers Drug Mart. So when I was in there, and there was
I didn't go in.
He didn't go in. He was sitting on the car checking his email. So I went in and I got a card, and I got him a couple of packages of Jubes, or not Jubes, of gummies, because he likes the gummies. And they were on sale. 2 for $6. What a bargain. But I asked him what he wanted for his birthday, and he's impossible to buy for. Well, we both are because, you know, we buy our own things. So it's just not a birthday. Don't give something. So I thought, hey, I got an idea. I don't have to go out for it. So I ordered him an Amazon gift card online. And he got it today because it comes to you via your email, and you can set up when you're going to want it to be sent. So I bought that online. He now has it, so he can do whatever he wants with it. And then I said, where do you want to go for dinner? Because we usually take each other out for dinner. So we've settled on the Keg. Good choice, because that was the one that was going through my mind at the time. But we talked about going last night, but it's Saturday, and the Keg is one of those kind of places you can't make reservations for. And everybody at this time of the year are cashing in their gift certificates they got at Christmas for the Keg. So it's usually a zoo, and you could be waiting up to an hour or longer for a table, which really isn't that big of a problem for us because we just sit in the bar area and get Mai Tais. But he didn't want to do that last night. Tonight, I said to him, what do you want for dinner? I had half a notion that I'd make like some kind of crepes with like ham and cheese, but he went, no, wants fish and chips. Okay, easy, don't have to cook it. All right, so we're having fish and chips, which is okay by me. We haven't had that in a while, and it's the only kind of fish that I will eat. Is the kind in halibut.
Breaded and deep fried.
That's right. Yeah, the real slimming. Yeah.
I don't know. We don't have to do that.
No, now you got me all excited about fish and chips, and when I called my mother, she got, oh, they've never had those there. Yeah. I thought they would.
Yeah, well, your mother's beginning to complain about the food.
Yeah, I know. So, anyways, so we're going to go sometime either Monday night or Wednesday night or something to the keg when it'll be a little bit slower and that kind of thing. Problem with the keg is
The keg is sort of like a steakhouse. A lot of people might not know what.
Oh yeah, it's a steakhouse here in Canada.
It's kind of a chain thing.
Yeah.
But actually, they're usually pretty consistent.
And the food's pretty good, the service is good, and the whole bit. But their service is so efficient because they do the team serving that you can literally be in there and out in half an hour or less. And it's not a particularly cheap restaurant. So if we're going to be spending like a couple of $100 on dinner, then you kind of want to make it an event. So what we usually do is we will order an appetizer and nothing else to start with. Hang on to the menus. And we'll wait until we finish the appetizer, then we'll order a meal. And usually the meal comes with a salad or something. So we'll often say, we would like you not to put our order in until after we have finished the salad. And they accommodate. I don't know if they like it or not, but they accommodate. And that means that you have a more leisurely meal. Otherwise, it's bam, bam, thank you, ma'am.
Plus, it's a little easier on a night that's not super busy to do that. So,
But I figure if you're spending that kind of money, then you dictate what it's an event. It's not just, if I just want to eat, I can get a burger at McDonald's or stay at home. So this is more of an event. So what are people saying here? Roy says happy birthday. Julie's here. Hi, Julie. Andy's here. She says, hi, glad you made it back okay, and happy birthday, Walter. And Julie says, happy birthday, Walter. So, yep, we made it back, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So, what are we eating? No one's asked. Well, I went to All Out for Walter's birthday. Corn chips and Tostito cheese mixed with salsa and some secret ingredients, which you can't really taste in it, but...
Yeah, I can taste it. It tastes sort of halfway between your mother's dip and something else.
Yeah, well, it's just kind of got the... Oh, I know what I should have put in it, ketchup, but... We're having ghetto hors d'oeuvres. These little round roll-up things. It's a turkey hot dog with some processed cheese and sliced pickle rolled up in a tortilla shell and then baked for about 5 minutes in the toaster oven. Gourmet. Absolute gourmet. Actually kind of tasty.
Not bad.
Could have dipped them in a little mustard, but...
Yeah, maybe mustard. Yeah.
But anyways, it's called making hors d'oeuvres out of whatever's in your fridge. My grandmother used to do that. She'd come up with the world's most interesting concoctions. And we always called them when we were kids, horses doers. Like hors d'oeuvres, horses doers.
Didn't you do something weird with gumballs?
Yeah, she washed them. She got gumball. I was there one year when I was a kid for Halloween at my grandparents' place. And my grandmother was always concerned about chemicals. Yeah, she bought a lot of stuff that was full of that kind of crap. And got all these gumballs for trick-or-treating. She wouldn't let us eat them until she put them all in. She soaked them in a cup of water so all the color came off them. Because that coloring, you know, she'd read somewhere it wasn't good for you. So she soaked them all off and she had all these white gumballs.
And the gum wasn't bad for you either?
She didn't get that, didn't care about that. Well, she used to always make sure the only chocolate bar that she'd let us eat when we were there were Jersey milk. Because they were made with milk, don't you know? So they must be good for you. Yeah. They don't even make Jersey milk anymore, I don't think.
No, they still do. But I think it was bought out by a different company.
I think it was, in those days, I don't know if it was Cadbury or Nielsen.
Nielsen, Jersey milk.
Yeah. Well,
but I don't know if Nielsen still exists or if somebody bought it out. I think Cadbury bought them out at one point.
Or maybe. Well, according to my mother, that was good for you because it was made with milk. Yeah, it was chocolate. Okay. So who's all here? Lanier is here. Hi, everybody, she says, and happy birthday, Walter. Mel says, those things look like bones I give to my dog.
Yeah, they do. You can get those things that sort of look like
What,
that.
these?
Yeah, they look like that.
Oh, I
You
don't
can
know.
get they're these fake bones that they get.
Oh, okay. Well, they're not bad. Okay, so what are we talking about today? My mouth is full. My mother, update. She survived us not being around for a week. And I have to be honest, I didn't really think too much about her while we were away. But when we came back, my sister wrote me I wrote my sister a text message saying, okay, so how was Mom while we're gone? And she said, oh, she was fine. She had a bit of a cough. She thinks she got a little bit of a cold, but everything's okay. The next day, I got a voicemail message. They sent it to my phone, and I guess I didn't have my ringer on my phone. And so I didn't notice it until later in the day. And it was from the nursing home telling me that, okay, your mother's out of isolation now, everything's fine. I didn't know she was in isolation. Of course, mind you, when they say isolation, it just means they keep them in their room and bring them their meals up there because they don't want them spreading whatever they got throughout the whole place. And but my sister never said anything about that. So
She may not have known.
maybe she didn't, because I would have thought she would have mentioned it.
Yeah.
So anyways, so we went over to see my mother on Friday. Yeah. And yeah, I said to her, so you were in isolation? She says, oh yeah, I had a cold, but I'm fine now. So it was no big deal. She is now starting to complain a little bit about the food, which means, I don't know what that means. But I'm not going to get uptight about it.
Yeah, at first she said the food was really good and all that other stuff, but now she's beginning to say that it's different now. But I don't know if that is the case or not.
Yeah, she said something about they served Brussels sprouts while the Brussels sprouts were brown. I doubt that. I mean, you know, Brussels sprouts will, if they're a little overcooked, they aren't as perky green as
Well, they might have
but,
also been cooked in something,
well, they might have been.
you know, so.
And they had chili. And, well, it was terrible. Everybody said so, is what she says. She always prefaces it like it's not just her, everybody is saying this, yeah. I mean, there's going to be a riot. There'll be wheelchairs thrown at people. There'll be canes everywhere, whatever. There'll be food fights. I don't know. And, but you see, the problem is, well, I said, well, what was wrong with it? Well, it just didn't have any flavor whatsoever. There was no spice to it whatsoever. Well, you see, most of the food that my mother will complain about has to do with food that she used to make herself. And my father liked everything really spicy. So when she made chili, it would burn the roof off the top of your mouth. We all liked it too as kids. And I still like spicy food to this day, although it doesn't really like me that much anymore. But, so, you know, it's a nursing home. So, yes, it's probably kind of on the bland side. No pun intended. Because they're old people. And, you know, some of them have dietary restrictions and things like that. So they're not going to give them anything that's really spiced up because it could disrupt their system. And I said to her, well, you know, you put a little pepper on it or ask for some hot sauce. Well, our pepper and salt went missing. It's not on our table anymore. Well, the solution to that, Mother, is just ask them. They're there. They don't ignore them. They're standing around trying to help them out and make sure they're okay. Yeah,
but it's like your mother doesn't want to ask.
I know. Well, she just wants to complain.
Yeah.
But I'm not falling for it anymore. I said, well, Mom, let me know if things don't improve, and I'll give the dietitian a call. We see, this will shut her up because she doesn't want me to call the dietitian because she doesn't want to make a stink. She doesn't care if somebody else makes a stink for it, but she doesn't want to seem as though she's complaining. So I just simply say, pay her lip service, you know. Now, if I really thought it was really bad or something like that, yeah, I'd go into action with it. But I know that's not the case. She's getting great care there. I mean, they're excellent. Everything that I've seen so far. And I've been very critical about it. Well, I can't say too much about them. They've done or too little about, too much, too little. I have no complaints, okay? They've been great with her, so. And we got a phone call the other day from I still call it the CCAC, but it's the organization. They have a new name that actually does the placements in nursing homes. And of course, my mother's still on a waiting list for a couple of the nursing homes that were on her list that she didn't get into because they have like years long waiting lists. But our lovely government right now is pushing the issue. He's trying to get people off the waiting lists no matter what, not necessarily to accommodate them, but just so it doesn't look bad. Because his government's going to do all this stuff right now, don't you know, about it's going to improve the healthcare system and whatnot. So I talked to this lady on the phone, and there was no way I was taking my mother off the waiting list. Not that I think she's ever going to go to her top choice in there, because it is years down the road, and the place she's in right now is building a new one. And I think she's in a really great spot right now to be eventually, I mean, it won't be open for over a year yet, but she might have be in a good spot to get a room in the new place, which actually is closer to us, not by a lot, but a little bit, and it'll be more modern, because you know I've told you before this home she's in is a little bit on the older side. So now it'll be, you know, she won't have to be stand in the wheelchair line up, or stand in the wheelchair, it's not that she stands, sit in the wheelchair line up where they take them down to the basement to where the dining room is, because the dining rooms on the new designs of nursing homes are all on the same floor as their rooms. So, and things are done in like pods. So instead of just hallways with rooms all along, and it's all like out on a spoke system, and they have a central area, and it's a smaller dining rooms instead of one big one. You know, that have maybe 25 people in it as opposed to 200 people in it. But it's a waiting game to see what happens with that. But the staff are what's important. And the staff, I have not heard a lot of really good things about the other place she wants to go to in terms of the staff. Yes, it's a brand new nursing home, and it's beautiful. We went through it. But if the service or if the help there sucks, it doesn't matter how beautiful it looks. You're still going to be miserable. So, anyways, I left her name on there. I'm not doing the government's job. Let them sort the problem out, because they're the ones who created the problem in the first place. Simple as that. B&D are here, and they say, happy birthday, Walter. Now, just looking back, see what people say. Phyllis wants to know any airport difficulties.
Actually, not really.
No?
We were kind of surprised, but what happened was on the way down, we on the way down to Florida, the way it works in Canada is they have U.S. Customs in our airport in Canada. So you go through U.S. Customs at our airport. So there weren't as many customs officers there as what's normally there. I think there were only 4 people on the day that we left.
And one of those was sort of the priority ones. The next,
we were at the airport very early that morning, just in case. So to beat the line. So it didn't take us very long.
It took us about 22 minutes to get through.
So that, and then we were a little worried on the way back, because although we don't have to go through customs on the way back, we still have to go through security, you know, where they check your bags and scan everything. So we went through, well, actually, what I didn't realize that you had to go through Homeland Security there, which I wasn't, but that was relatively quick. And then they went in and checked your bags and scanned, you know, x-ray your bags and everything. And there were only 2 stations open for that.
Yeah.
And but it was fair. Like, we were there really, really, really early. We were there at our flight 4 hours before our flight. So it only took us a few minutes to get through. We were ahead of the line. It began to bunch up behind us.
Yeah.
So we didn't really have a problem, and it seemed the employees seemed to be in reasonably good spirits. They didn't seem
they didn't seem to be miserable and take it out on us.
Yeah, I mean, I know. Like, I feel sorry for them.
I wouldn't blame them for doing that, because they're working for nothing. And, you know, that's just not right. And, I mean, we can do a whole thing on that, but everybody
Yeah.
knows what the situation is, so we don't
So,
really need to
we
get into
personally
it,
didn't
but-
have any problem.
No.
So
Now, our flight was delayed coming home by about an hour because of the weather here in Toronto, because it dumped everything on it. And we kind of knew that was a good possibility, but it wasn't like it was an inconvenience to us. Although I have to say, Fort Lauderdale's airport sucks. Major.
it was.
We had a choice. We're looking for
We
breakfast.
were looking for a place for breakfast and there was really only one selection, and it was a pizza place. And so we go in there, and the only thing they had for breakfast is you could get a bagel with egg and either bacon or ham or sausage.
Or sausage.
That's the only choice they had. Or we could get pepperoni pizza.
Yeah.
Uh,
It wasn't particularly cheap for what we got. But then again, when you're in the airport anywhere in the world, the prices are definitely inflated from what you would be paying out on the street.
I mean, the bagel was okay and everything, but it wasn't
Yeah, it was
anything.
okay, but it was nothing to write home with, and I think it cost us like about it was 1986 or something American, so it was about 23 something Canadian. But that's all they had. That was in there, and boy, I'm not going to complain about Toronto's airport anymore, because after seeing that, Toronto's airport is a much superior airport. But that one in Fort Lauderdale, it might as well have been a shed, because the only one
Yeah.
I've seen that's been worse than that is probably when we were in Paris once and had to go through de Gaulle, and it was a shed, literally at that time.
But that's also because their airport caved. Their
Airport caved in.
The airport fell apart.
Yeah, that was many years ago now, so I don't know what the new one's like. But yeah, for the most part we didn't have any problem. So we can talk a little bit about Florida. I mean, we talked a little last week when we tried to do our live from there, and which we actually were able to do, because those of you that saw it, with only one interruption.
Well, I think there were some other when we rewatched it last night, and there seemed to be some technical glitches in it as well.
Yeah, but I mean, considering that we didn't even know if we'd be able to have a Wi-Fi connection that would be fast enough to handle live streaming, so that was good. Overall, though, the trip was good. Yeah, we didn't do a lot, and that was fine. We were gentlemen who lunched. We walked a lot. No, we ate a lot at lunch. In the evening, there were a couple of nights we didn't really eat anything because there was still stuff from lunch. I find when you go to the States and you go to a restaurant in the States, you get mass quantities of food. We did the Cheesecake Factory a couple of times, 2 different ones. And my God, we both ordered the first time we went to the Cheesecake Factory. We were at an outlet mall, which was huge. We'd been to this mall before the last time we were in Fort Lauderdale, but that's a few years ago. They've added to it. It's just incredibly immense. You just get lost. But we went to the Cheesecake Factory there, and we ordered it was a half turkey sandwich with a cup of the soup of the day and a salad on the side. Well, I ordered a Caesar salad with it. Well, the plate came, and it was this big. It was like a platter. Half of that is the salad heaped up. The half a sandwich, I don't know what half they're talking about, because it was like a whole sandwich. And it was like turkey, and it was big.
Yeah.
And then their cup of soup was a bowl
I
of
think you
soup.
had chicken salad, but that's besides.
Yeah, we got chicken salad with almonds or something
Yeah.
in it and whatnot. And it was good. Actually, the food usually at the Cheesecake Factory is good, but it's mass quantities. But it's not just the Cheesecake Factory that has mass quantities. Every place we go in the States, everything is mass quantities. Really, you can feed 2 people off of what you get in those places. And the prices are the same as what they charge here, pretty much. I mean, if you don't do the exchange.
Yeah.
But, yeah, no wonder people are heavy down there. Well, I shouldn't talk.
Mm.
Yeah. Really skinny. No, not really. So anyways, we did that. We did go to an art gallery, in Fort Lauderdale.
I think we talked about that last
Yeah, we
weekend,
did. It was small. It was interesting. But mostly we walked everywhere. But now, the one thing I find different about the States from Canada is the atmosphere. We did not walk the streets of Fort Lauderdale at night, not in the area we were in. We made that mistake one night, and the lunatics all come out at night. Now, that's not to say we don't have them in Canada, we do. But there's an atmosphere of, I don't know, in some ways you feel like you're in a third world country. I'm sorry to say that. And I'm not just talking about Fort Lauderdale. Any places we've ever been in the States.
Well, it just feels different to us, but we're in a foreign country. So.
Yeah, I guess. But there is definitely a big gap between the haves and the have-nots. There doesn't seem to be a very clearly defined middle class in there. We do have that in our country. Mind you, it is shrinking. So, I don't know. But, you know, Americans individually are all very nice. You know, like, no problems that way or whatnot.
Yeah, like all the people
everybody's
that were
very
staying
friendly.
in the place that we were in were all pretty nice.
Mm-hmm. And it was funny. There was a guy that works in this place we're in, and so they had on Friday and Saturday nights in this place, they have sort of an open bar for about an hour. They call it happy hour. And he was serving, and I'm talking to him. He's a youngish guy. And so I was kind of quizzing him about Canada because he was asking stuff. He was a native Floridian. And I don't know how far he'd ever been in the world, but of course we were looking at the news and seeing how much snow was being dumped on us up at home. And so I was asking him questions. So I said to him, so, who's the president of Canada? He goes, oh, I don't know. I know president of Canada. He says, we don't have a president, we have a prime minister. And then I said, oh, good education system. And I said to him, so, I said, where's the capital of Canada? And he made a guess. He goes, Toronto? And I said, well, they think they are, but no, it's Ottawa. And I was just having some fun with them. But, you know, it's just another thing like, Americans don't really know much about us. We know more about Americans than Americans do because we see it on the news. It's like when we're watching the news there, nothing exists beyond above the 49th parallel. It's just, no. Don't know
Yeah, I had
about
to
that.
log into you could log into our TV stations up down there, just to see what was going on up here, so.
Yeah, so we're keeping tabs there. Well, basically because we want to snicker.
Well, not only that, we're also,
about the cold.
I guess maybe because we're a smaller population, but,
Yeah. But anyways, it was a good trip. It was nice to get away.
yeah.
Got some sun. You know, it was warm for the most part. We had one morning where we got up and it was chilly.
Though we still wore shorts.
But we were still...
It was 8 degrees, 8 degrees Celsius, so we were still wearing shorts.
Yeah. Other ones who come from that area, they were all bundled up. But, yeah, they knew we were Canadians, they could tell. But I was ready to come home.
Yeah. We came home to a pile of snow.
Mm-hmm.
And it snowed last night too, pile of snow.
Yeah. So, but anyways, just see what people are saying here. Oh, Julie says, Stephen, I watched your Monday blog an hour ago, meaning tomorrow's blog. Yeah, I did my vlog one day in advance because, and I explained it on the blog, this next while, I bit off more than I could chew. I took 4 classes, and I have 3 of them next week.
And they're intense.
And they're intense. I've been cutting material all weekend long. One of the quilts I'm making had over 256 white 2 by 2 inch squares that had to be cut. And that was only part of the cutting. And another one has all these strips. I spent most of today getting those strips ready for this other quilt. And then I had to finish tracing out stuff for this one that's sort of an art quilt and it's paper piecing. and it has umpteen million pieces. Yeah, it's my own fault. As I explained on the vlog about that in a little bit more detail. But anyways, I decided I would do the vlog.
He said to me before he booked these classes, he said, well, I'm not going to take very much this time around. So we go in the first day, and he books 2 classes. And I thought, okay, that's the end. Later in that day, he goes, I want to take something else. So he books 2 additional classes.
Yeah, well, anyways.
Then he's looking at it going, holy crap, I've got all this stuff I have to do.
Yeah. And come this next week, well, not this week actually, Friday, I've got a 2-day retreat from my guild to go to. I'll have lots to be able to do during that, I'm sure, with these other projects. But anyways, such is life. I'd rather be busy than bored. So I'm definitely not bored. So that's why I did the vlog 1 day early. And my intent was that I wouldn't post it until tomorrow, because I thought there was a way you could do that on YouTube. Well, I haven't figured out how to do that. I'm pretty sure there is a way to do it, to delay it. But anyways, it's up now, if you're interested. A new Julie. Julie Worlkoth, if I'm saying that right. Hello from Wisconsin's frozen tundra. And Phyllis says, I hired an institutional cook for a corporate cafeteria and she lasted 1 day. Bland food, everything dumped on one plate of instant mashed potatoes, green beans, hot dogs, and a half-canned peach. Okay. Baby food would have been better.
No, it could be that their cook has changed. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Or it's just my mother. Who knows? Brenda's here. Hi, Brenda. Jody says, I'm curious, are most of your viewers from the USA? Yes. Probably. I mean, we have some
from Australia.
Then we have Mel from Finland.
Yeah.
We have some UK people. But I would say probably the bulk of the viewers are from the UK. So
From US.
Or sorry, US. I mean, I'm not trying to insult Americans, okay? I mean, they've got enough to deal with on their plate right now with that idiot they have in power, okay? And we know that. But I'm just saying, it's definitely
a very different... You think that a lot of people think that Canada's just sort of like a mini America.
But we're not.
But we're not. We're very different.
We're very different. For example, when I was paying for things on a credit card, 9 times out of 10...
All the time, actually.
No, I didn't have to in the grocery store.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
But we have a chip, right, on our card. You just put it in, bang, it's done. I had to actually sign, like the old days where they come with the bill and you sign it. That is like...
We all have, in all the restaurants here, and I know in Europe it's this way as well, we have a point of sale. You're presented at the table when you go pay your check, a point of sale terminal. A portable one that's wireless, and you slide your card into it. They type in how much the amount is, and then you add your tip to it.
And bang, you're done.
And that's it, you're done. Australia works like that too. Yeah. Every country in the world works that way, except for the United States.
Now, I'm not sure why it doesn't work that way. I know that it's gotten better since the last time we were in the States, because they do have chip readers in those cards as well. Like I said, in the grocery store, I could use tap. No problem, which is you just tap the card on it and bang. You don't even have to put in your PIN number for that. And we have that a lot here. But
in fact, a lot of people don't carry cash anymore here.
No. But there, it was just, the way. So maybe they'll catch up. I think it has to do with the way the banking system works in the States as opposed to us, because our banks are all interconnected. And they are, heavily regulated by the government, by the Central Bank of Canada. Whereas in the States, I'm not sure if that's the same thing. I think a lot of banking are more private businesses. So maybe that has to do with it. I don't know with it. But it just seems, like a country, I guess because we feel, okay, here's the reverse. If a lot of people think that we're like Americans, I often think that Americans do, like when it comes to business and stuff, do things pretty much the same way as we do. And they don't. They don't. So, and I'm not saying that that's a criticism. It's just something different. That's all. So, what's people saying? Hayes is here. Happy birthday, says Walter. A windstorm went through Fort Lauderdale area, Phyllis says, after you left. Some talk about tornadoes. Oh,
Oh,
okay. Glad we got out of there when we did.
that usually happens when we go.
Yeah, that's not so unusual with us. We leave a disaster behind us, usually.
Years ago, we drove from BC to Alberta, and the day after we drove the Trans-Canada Highway, a big landslide went through and completely closed off the highway.
Yeah, maybe it's us.
And then we also drove, we were out west too, and we were in Edmonton. And the day later, the next day after we left Edmonton, a big tornado went through. So people used to joke with me at work when we went to California. They said, "Oh no, it's going to drop off the face of the earth."
Yeah. People didn't want to
Well,
plan
that
the
never
holidays
happened,
off us. No, that never happened. So Mel says we're having the most wonderful winter over here. Lots of snow, even though this week has been a little chilly, minus 25 to minus 30 C. It's like living in a beautiful postcard day after day until you have to shovel it.
Well, right now our snow looks pretty good because it just came down yesterday, and it's still white.
And Phyllis says same weather coming our way tomorrow. And then Phyllis says, no, we have machines at the table, chips on our cards. Total BS. I don't understand what you mean, Phyllis, because nobody in any restaurant we went to brought me a machine at the table. That's what we have in Canada.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. Every restaurant, without exception, that we went to while we were in Fort Lauderdale, never once did they bring the machine to our table. They brought us the bill. I put my card on the bill. They ran away with the card. They came back. I had to sign for it. Maybe that's just Florida. Or maybe that's just Fort Lauderdale. I don't know. But that was the way it was. Nairi says, most shops have pay wave for sales under $100. You just wave your card over the machine and it charges your credit card. That's what we call tap.
Yeah, you call it pay wave, we call it tap.
Yeah. And Lanier says, yep, under $80 for pay wave in New Zealand. I love it. Yep, that's what we have, and that's what we're used to too. So, I don't know, I guess, whatever. Technology is...
I just find it surprising in a country that large that is supposedly technology oriented.
Yeah.
It's like that. And it was like that the last time we went to Fort Lauderdale, and it's been like that every time we've been since. Now, maybe that's just Fort Lauderdale. Maybe that's Florida. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, it could be different in other states as well. So, okay. So, anyways, the trip was good. Oh yeah, we had a little snag in our Australian flights. But
Qantas, well, I'm still not 100% sure if it's fixed, but Qantas canceled a whole bunch of flights from Cairns to Darwin, which was one of ours, and then they rerouted us. We originally picked that flight because it was a direct flight and would be 2.5-hour flight to get there, and they rerouted us on a flight that would go, if anybody knows, familiar with Australia, that would be Cairns via Adelaide to Darwin. So we would have had to fly to Adelaide, and then it would have been, instead of a 2.5-hour flight, it would have been a 12.5-hour flight with a stopover.
Yeah.
So anyway, I phoned them, and I was on hold for over half an hour. I got a poor connection. I could barely understand her. But anyway, she rebooked me onto the same type of flight I had, only a day later. So we're back to a direct flight from Cairns to Darwin. But for some reason, it seems to have flagged it online and said there is a possible schedule change. So I went online, but this time I went through chat and talked to them on there, and it took over half an hour. And they claimed to confirm that that flight's going that day. So, but I don't know why it's flagged. So that was annoying. So then I went and had to rebook, because we're going a day later. I had to rebook the hotels. In Darwin, it wasn't a big deal. I could do it online, but the place we booked in Adelaide, I had to contact them via email. So I wrote them this message about tacking on another day to the reservation, all this other stuff. And at the bottom, I said, please send me a confirmation of the new schedule. right? They didn't read any of the top stuff on it. They just sent me the old confirmation on it. So I had to rewrite them again and put in bold letters that, no, I want you to add another day, right? Well, actually, they did fix it fairly fast and send me another one, but that was kind of annoying.
Well,
people that won't read their emails properly.
It's a good thing, though, that Walter looks at this on a regular basis to make sure there aren't any changes or anything, because, you know, most people just say, okay, I've got the reservation, this is the way it is.
Well, no, I wasn't. Actually, they sent me a notification from Qantas that said that there was a change.
No, okay, well, that was good. But anyways, for now, that's sorted out. What was I going to say here? There's something I was thinking of. Phyllis says that we are not behind the times. Restaurants in town have credit machines installed at their tables. We aren't like Fort Lauderdale. Even Olive Garden has these machines. Where are you, Phyllis? I forget where you're from. Because you've got them actually at the table all the time. Now that is a great idea, because then you don't have to wait for the attendant to come and bring the machine back and forth. And that, I always, before they even come to us where it's in the meal, we know we're going to leave, I put my card out on the table to give them the hint that yes, we are going to be paying by card. So, you know, when you come over to give us the bill, bring your little machine at the same time, because otherwise, in some places, they bring you the bill, they take off, and you can be sitting there for 10 minutes or so. You're ready to leave, but you can't because no one's brought the machine. So that's a good idea if they're installed at the table. I think that's a great idea. I'm not saying you're backwards, Phyllis. I'm hearing a little bit of sarcasm in your voice or something in there. I'm not saying that the states are backwards. I'm saying the states are different, okay? And they're not like us. And the only reason we're making that point is because many, many Americans that we have met over the years think we're exactly like they are. We're all North America kind of a thing. And a lot of people in Europe think we're the same. And we're not. We're not the same, okay?
We do things differently up here.
I am a Canadian. I am proud to be a Canadian. I am not an American. Okay, I'm not saying anything derogatory about Americans with that, but what I'm saying is I am different from an American. Simple as that. That's all I mean. Okay. Nairi says, you can fly from Adelaide to Perth via Sydney. Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's really crazy. Like,
maybe it has to do with the number of people that are, like, how often they fly or something. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that affects it. Mel says, I was looking Creativation 2019 videos, and it was a big disappointment. Only a few interesting products. Same stuff, only different packages with new name. The foiling system was interesting. I've ordered it, the foiling system. It's expensive. The starter kit, which has everything in it, is $100 US at the distributing company that my local scrapbook store gets it from. So it will be more than that, because there'll be the exchange, plus there'll be her markup on it. And I ordered a few other things to go along with it, so I'm looking at a bill when it all comes in of probably slightly over $200. But I want it, because it's a gizmo. And it works with my Cricut Maker. But you're right, I didn't see anything else in the videos I was watching that really got me going, like, wow, here we go. Ooh, another stencil. Ooh, some more glitter paste. But the market's saturated, and it's been like that for a few years now. So, you know, nothing new under the sun. Phyllis is Grand Rapids, Michigan, where she is. You just described how they work. You can even play games on those machines. Okay.
Well, you're not far from us.
Yeah, you're not far from us, so Michigan, yeah, I could see that happening in Michigan. But whatever, but, you know, it just may be the area we were in. You know, maybe it's not, like, I'm not trying to whitewash all the United States because of one experience, all right? Simple as that. Sorry if it sounded like I was. Phyllis says, my dad was French-Canadian. Okay. Mary says, Mel, I thought that too. Only a couple of things I thought I'd buy. Yeah, the thing is, too, they show all their latest products. Getting them is another thing. Because a lot of the time, I swear, they're showing you the prototypes of some of the new products and they're not ready for shipping them. And a lot of them are going through this one company called Notions. That's where the scrapbooking store that I get my stuff from goes through. It's a huge.
Who happens to be in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
It happens to be in Grand Rapids, Michigan, yes. They're a huge distribution company. But they supply Michaels, they supply Joann's, and they may even supply Hobby Lobby. So they got three biggies there. All the mom and pop stores get put on the back list. So when a new product comes in and they have it, Michaels, Joann's, Hobby Lobby all get first dibs at it before they send them out to these other smaller stores. And so we, our memory keepers especially, are bad for this. They come out with new stuff every year. It says, I have access to the distribution site because I do the price listing for my local scrapbooking store for them. I sort of work for them. And I see when things are ready. Well, that foil quill is what they call it, that I ordered, is not available. It's what they call a queued item, meaning it's in sort of a list for when it comes in and you can like stand and put your place in line to get it, is February the 20th. I know for a fact that I'm not going to see that thing until, if I'm lucky, it might be by June. More likely, I won't see it till next fall. And because I've experienced this with We Are Memory Keepers before. They are infamous for showing you stuff that's brand new, making it sound like it is readily available, and it's not at all. So that's the problem. And these Creativation gets everybody all hyped up. They know we're watching the YouTube videos, and they're showing all the new stuff, and everybody wants it. So then they go to the stores. I know from when I worked in the store, people coming in, oh, I saw this at Creativation, can you get it? Then I had to explain to them what I just explained to you. That, yeah, I can put an order in for you, but you're not going to get it next week or next month. We don't know when it's going to come into us from this. And they get frustrated. Because then they'll come in, oh, well, that's fine, they say, but it's not fine. They come in 2 weeks later. Oh, is my order in? No. Do you know when it's coming in? Sorry, I don't. Well, can you do anything to get it here faster? Wish you could.
Actually, the same sort of thing happens with electronics. They have the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas every year in January. And there, each of the electronics places show all their new products. And of course, they show products that are also just prototypes and stuff, right? But they show their whole new lineup of, let's say, 2019 TV sets or whatever. But those TV sets will never be available until about April or May.
So it's all this hype. They get everybody all excited about, oh, wow, yeah, I got to have that. I want that. And then we're all left out in the cold until they get around to manufacturing it. And, you know, there have been times when I have ordered things way in advance like this. And then when it does come in, I forgot that I ordered it, you know, or something better came along, whatever, and then you don't want it. And that's not fair to the store because the store has put it on their order, they have to pay for it, and they're expecting you to get it. And that used to happen when I worked in the store too. We'd phone them up and say, oh, it's finally arrived. Oh, I ordered it from Amazon, or, oh, I don't want that anymore. Store's left holding the bag. I mean, and some of these items are not that readily easy to sell. You know, like this thing that I've ordered is not going to just peel off the shelves because of its price. The price point is high. Also, you have to have an electronic cutter to use it. You have to have a Cricut or a Silhouette or a Brother Scan and Cut, and not everybody has one of those. So it's a more limited audience. So, you know, what can you do? What are people saying? Nothing on. Phyllis says it's a 6-hour drive. Love you both. Yeah, to Grand Rapids, Michigan. I've been there once. I went down to a Tim Holtz workshop when I was working at the store at Notions.
And that's where you met Tim Holtz.
And I met Tim Holtz at that time. I think I have a video way back on my channel somewhere about that. But Grand Rapids, Michigan, I've said to Walter before, we should go there for a few days because When I was there, I was only there for
Maybe in the
2
summer.
nights. Yeah, I would go in the summer. I wouldn't go in the winter. Um, they seem to have a lot of festivals and things going on all the time, and that was kind of a neat looking place. I mean, it's not some place I'd ever thought of before to go to. So, hey, if we go down, Phyllis, we can get together. We'll go for drinky poos. Maybe to the place where they've got the card thing stuck to the table. Okay. So, anyways, what else is up? Well, we've talked about Walter's birthday. He's 61. Old fart. Same age as me. But, you know.
Well, you're 61 in 6 months.
No, I won't be 61 in 6 months.
No, I said you're 61 and 6 months.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. We're the same age right now. Yeah. Until July. Then I'm a year older again. But look at this compared to that. Really? Age is on my side. Don't anybody say anything about that. Phyllis says their art fair is fab, $250,000 to the winner. Well, we may consider it at some point in time. I'll be honest. I don't have a desire to travel in the States right now, given, you know, the political climate kind of thing. So when we went to Fort Lauderdale, the reason we went to Fort Lauderdale was because they came up on Black Friday with a seat sale on Air Canada. So the flight was cheap. And
the flight was cheap for us because our flights are expensive.
Yeah, very expensive.
Because a normal flight, if we had to pay a normal flight to go to Fort Lauderdale, we wouldn't have gone. Because a normal flight for us for Fort Lauderdale would be $800 return. And we got $329 return.
Yeah. So that's why we went. And we wanted to get away.
I wouldn't have paid the $800 to go. And then on top of that, we'd have to pay for the seats. We have to pay for our luggage to be checked. And everything else, because it's
Both
no thrills,
ways.
no frills.
I mean, as it is, we paid, what, $128 to check one bag each round trip. I mean, it's highway robbery.
No, it was
It was
$128 for 2 bags checked.
Yeah, each. I said one bag each.
Yeah.
So 2 bags, round trip. So $62 to go there, $62 to come back. And that's why people go on these airplanes and they bring these suitcases, which gets my goat. They bring on their carry-on. There isn't enough room on the plane. In fact, the airlines now are always making these announcements before boarding that if you have a carry-on, we have limited space. If you would like to check your carry-on, and I think they'll do it for nothing.
Yeah.
At that point, then come up and see them at the desk, kind of a thing. But these people, what they're doing is they're bringing these suitcases, because they're not carry-ons, they're suitcases.
Small suitcases.
Small suitcases. One overhead bin will only handle 2 of those. And they're all in a mad scramble to get on the plane because they know that one of those bins is only going to hold 2 of them. And if they don't get on there quick, they may have their suitcase, their carry-on, somewhere else at the back of the plane or something far from where they're sitting. So they all try to jump the zones. Now, the airlines look like they're getting a little smarter on that and getting a little more stricter. You know, there's a zone on your airplane ticket. You know, you're in zone 1, zone 2, zone 3.
Well, that's how Air Canada does it.
Well, that's how they do it. And they announce, okay, now boarding zone 1 or whatever. But people go right up, barrel right up to the line, and they're not letting them through, which is a good thing. Because, I mean, your seat is prearranged anyway, so you know you're going to be sitting there. So there isn't any great advantage except if you've got a suitcase that you call a carry-on that you're trying to put in an overhead bin. We take little carry-ons that fit right under the seat. We don't take anything bigger.
Well, it's only because I don't like dragging that stuff with me.
And the other thing is they don't want to wait for their suitcase to come out, you know, below. Yeah, that's a bit annoying. Okay, you stand there and you watch the thing go around and you get that feeling, that sinking feeling. Did they lose my luggage? And that has happened to us before. And
Yeah, well, that was on Alitalia.
Yeah, well, that was, yeah. But anyways, you know, you sit there and you're watching, like, the Wheel of Fortune. Where's the wheel going to stop? Is it going to have my suitcase on it? Kind of a deal. And they charge you for it. I think what they should be doing is if you've got a carry-on and that they check, they've got these racks that you.
They say they check, but
They
never
don't.
do.
They never check. And I feel sorry for the flight attendants as well because I watched them. They were struggling to try and get people's suitcase or these carry-ons stowed away, and they couldn't. And in fact, a couple of them they took away and said, "This will have to be checked." I'm sorry, sir, but this will have to be checked. And they took them, gave them a claim ticket, and they took them up the front. And I guess there was somebody there who took it and loaded it into the cargo hold of the ship. But really, you know.
And it's all because of this stupid thing where they charge for check bags now.
Mm. You know, the price of a flight is expensive as heck now. If they're trying to make it look like it's cheaper because they're not including the price of a checked bag in it, well, that's not working because everybody knows they're charging it. So, you know, we paid for our seats. Then we had to pay for checking our bags. And then we had to pay for picking our seat, didn't we?
Yeah, picking our seat.
And how much is that?
That was, on that, I think it was an extra $24 each way. No, it's $12 each, so 24.
So $48 round trip extra that we had to pay just to pick a seat. You know? So the airlines are nickel and diming you to death.
But that's only for North American flights. For some reason, now we're flying to Australia, but and then they don't serve you food on there. You have to pay for food.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So, but on our flight to Australia, because they're competing with Qantas and they're competing with all the international airlines, the international airlines all include check bags, right? They include food, and they have free seat selection. So on that flight, we have free seat selection, we have free check bags, and they're serving us food.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's an international flight.
Yeah. So Nairi says, is that on top of your flight cost? Yes. All of that's additional.
And that's what's interesting about Australia. The flights I booked in Australia all include, on the Qantas anyway, includes food, and includes checked bags, and free seat selection.
Mm-hmm. And how much are those flights costing us?
Not that expensive. They're not expensive flights.
What, they're like $200?
Yeah, well, the one from Brisbane to Cairns, which is about the same distance as from here to Florida, is $148 one way.
So over $300. So about what? About $300 round trip.
No, well, not round trip, one way. Yeah, but it's 300 round trip. Yeah, if we did a round trip, but we're not doing a round trip.
No, I know we're not doing a round trip, but I mean like it.
Yeah, it's 300 return.
Yeah. So there you go. But flights in Canada anyway suck majorly.
Flights from Canada are usually expensive. I mean, we did get a seat sale on Air Canada to get to Australia. Mm-hmm. And we only choose Air Canada because of we don't like to stop over in the United States because we get hassled with security and everything else. So, so on our Air Canada flight, we fly to Vancouver, and then we switch and then get a direct flight from Vancouver to Brisbane.
Yeah.
But that flight was cheap for us. I consider it cheap. It was $1,226 each.
It's our cheapest flight to Australia.
Yeah, the one we took last year was $1,800, and the very first flight we had was we flew. Don't mind you, we flew to Auckland and back from Sydney, and that was $3,000 each, and that we're talking economy.
Yeah. So there you go. But anyways, Ilona's here. Hi, Ilona. And she says, happy birthday, Walter. And Nairi says, flying Qantas, all-inclusive, up to 23 kilograms each person. Seat allocation, food, and that's domestic. Love Qantas. Yeah, we were impressed with Qantas when we took it last time we were in Australia.
We had two flights there. We took Qantas, and then from Adelaide to Perth, we had Virgin. And
Virgin was
crappy.
Not
impressed.
No.
With Virgin.
They shouldn't call it Virgin. They should just called it Dirty Slut. But, yeah. Oh, Deb is here. Hi, Deb. And she says, happy birthday, Walter. And then Phyllis says, do they have the businessman seating so comfortable? Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, if you want to pay a lot more,
Yeah, it's not like only $20 more for that.
a businessman seating would
It's
be
double.
about $2,000 or $3,000 returned to Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, okay, more than double
Yeah.
with it. Yeah, I'd love to go first class on a long flight someday, but I'm not willing to drop $10,000 for a flight. You know, I can think of a lot of other things I could do with
And
$10,000.
if we're going to Australia, the return flight then is extremely expensive in business. Business first.
I mean, there's some, I've watched them on YouTube. There's some airlines that have these, they're basically cabins in first class where your seating will all pull out into a bed. There's a shower. There's like, it's got to cost like $20,000 or more for a flight.
You can't afford that.
Like, no, can't afford that. Like I said, I can think of a lot of other things to do with that kind of money. Nairi says, I'd love to go business class just once, but way out of my budget. Yep, same. Me too. And you know, you always hear those stories about people because the plane's overfull or something like that, they get bumped up into business class. That's never happened to us. And in fact, we heard them make an announcement.
Well,
at the
actually,
airport.
we knew a steward, an airline, what do you call them? Flight attendant that we know. We were talking about that one time, and he said they always there was always somebody that was trying to get bumped up to first class.
Yeah, well,
and they said policy of the airline is no, we don't do that.
Yeah, well, when we were in the airport in Toronto, wait, remember they called 3 people up to the desk or something, but they said on there that
well, actually,
business class was full.
Airlines have this thing now. And I know the Australian Airlines do it too. The Canadian Airlines have this thing where you can bid on an upgraded seat.
Oh, give me a break.
Right? But they have a guideline as to how much they'll only accept, like you can't lowball them for a bit. Right? So what it is if they don't fill up all their business class seats or whatever, you can bid for a seat. But like if the fare is like regularly $10,000 or something like that for a business class seat, the minimum they'll accept for an offer is $3,000.
Yeah, well, okay, there's a racket.
And then you end up getting whatever seats left over.
Phyllis says, my grandson travels a lot for business and then applies his miles to get businessman seating, also room.
Yeah, well, I think
room in the VIP lounge. Oh, okay.
The American airlines have a really good point system.
Yeah, ours sucks.
Ours doesn't have a really good point.
Although
you have to fly a lot to be able to get that.
Didn't we get one flight?
Yeah, last year I had enough points on my airlines card that we got one flight to Australia for nothing.
Yeah, free. But that wasn't like enough to pay for a business class seat.
No.
So my luck would be that they'd call Walter up to the desk and go, sir, we've had a little problem with the seating, so we're going to put you in business class. And I'd be at the back. Bye.
Well, actually, that happened to one of the guys last year. They must have bid for seats, husband and wife.
No.
Husband sat in first class and she was in economy.
So, hypothetically, if that was to happen to us, and let's say you had the opportunity to go to business class, but I couldn't with that, would you go to business class?
Maybe.
Wrong answer. Divorce next week. Divorce court will be on Stephen and Walter Live, or it may just be Stephen Live. Yeah. And I am not that generous a person where I go for it, Walter. Yeah, you'll never have this opportunity again. Go for it. Don't worry about little. I'd make the rest of his life miserable. It would be as simple as that. I don't
want to bid on those. So.
I don't. Oh, why were you thinking of that?
No, I'm not, because it's a long flight to go to Australia, but in an economy seat it does get a little bit tedious. Yeah. But it's like after you do it, it's like you don't think about it again. So.
No, just drug me up.
It's what it is. It is what it is, or whatever they say.
Fill me full of booze, I'll go to sleep, no problem. Right through it all. We did hear a lot of people that say, oh, I'd love to go to Australia, but I would never be able to handle the flight. Well, it's not that bad. It's long. You watch about 4 movies, 5 movies, 6 movies, read a book, catch up on your YouTube videos.
And then you look at it and say, oh, 7, we've been on the plane 7 hours. That's what we're halfway.
Yeah. I can tell you this, once you've gone to Australia, from here, any flight you take anywhere else is short. Flying to England, it's a bat your eyes.
It's only 6 hours. Who cares?
I mean, Florida was like up, down.
2.5 hours.
Yeah. We didn't even get to finish the movie.
No.
We started watching Mission Impossible, the latest one, and we never finished it. That's how quick that was. Now he says, movies and food, easy. Just pretend you're on a bus. Yeah. Well, anyways, moving on. So, what's in the news? Well, our premier, Doug Ford, our little mini Trump, he's now attacking the education system once again. He has decided that there shouldn't be any caps placed on how many students per teacher there are in kindergarten to grade 3. That is something our unions fought for years. When I first started teaching, it was not unusual for me to have a class of 40. Okay? The room would not physically hold 40 kids. They were sitting on each other, and they were high school students, so, you know, they're big in that. And then over the years, the unions negotiated, and got a cap level put onto how many students in a room. Well, in kindergarten, they have a cap. I'm not sure what it is. I think it might be 23 kids per teacher. He wants to remove this. All right, picture this, non-teaching people. All right, you have 23 4 to 5 year olds in a room. Remember what 4 to 5 year olds are like? The energy level they exude? Think of the poor teacher having to deal with that. Now, remove the cap and stick 39 kids into a kindergarten room, because that's what he's talking about with one teacher. Yeah, there'll be a good thing in our country we have a very severe gun control, because they'd be blowing their brains out. The teacher would be, kill me now, with that. And the same with grade 1 to 3. And now they're trying to pretend that that's good for the education system. That's good for kids. How is having one teacher for 39 kids good? You tell me in a day how much individual attention these kids are going to get in that. They're not. But that's what he wants to do. Why does he want to do it? Well, there's this thing called the deficit budget, where we're in the hole. Well, all governments are in the hole for one reason or the other. They've been dealing with that for years. He wants to eliminate the deficit on the backs of public service workers like teachers. So if he increases the class size, they can hire less teachers and save on that salary, that huge salary that teachers get. You know, it's just mega millions, really. I mean, that's why I can afford to go to Australia and everything, because I had made so much money when I was a teacher that it's just rotting. That's why I travel first class. No, I don't. That's why, yeah, okay? Just stupid, idiot. And the scary part is, he might get away with it, except for one thing. He's underestimated the power of the elementary school teachers' unions. And they are powerful. The teachers' unions are probably the most powerful unions in Canada. So they're not going to take this lying down. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. So, return the sex education curriculum back to post-21st century. So, and you have one teacher for 39 kids in a classroom. So, we're all going to have a whole lot of pregnant kids running around snorting drugs because, of course, marijuana is legal. And actually, the teachers are going to need that marijuana, believe me, if they get 39 in their classroom. No two ways about that. Phyllis says, I read that there's an impeachment group after Doug Ford. Can he really be impeached? It's just what he can't be impeached.
No, there's no impeachment.
He can have a non-confidence vote. If the government puts in a bill that the rest of the government, the House, our House of Commons, don't agree with, If they vote it down, that becomes a vote of non-confidence in the government. The government gets dissolved. There's a new election. Problem is, he has a majority. So in order for that to happen, the opposition party would have to get some of some of the people from the party that's in power to come over to their side and vote against something. And that is extremely rare for something like that to happen. But there is no impeachment process in our country. That's how it works that way. And most times, people that are in a position that Ford is in as Premier of the province, they do listen to what the opposition has to say and what the people have to say, but not this arrogant asshole. Oh, I guess most of the Americans would understand what this is all about since you're in a similar situation with Trump, right? Same idea. Well, this is why I call Ford Mini Trump, because he plays politics the same way. He's an idiot. There's no two ways about it. So, we've only ever had one political assassination in this country, and that was in the 1880s, and it was D'Arcy McGee, who was a prime minister at the time, and someone shot him. We've never had that since because we have gun control laws, and we're just the kind of people that wait things out. But who knows? Maybe history will repeat itself. I'm not saying that I agree with that. Don't misunderstand me. I don't think he should be shot.
Okay. I mean, we used to have a conservative government in the 90s in Ontario, and they did all kinds of things to the public service as well.
Yep.
But the unions gave them a lot of heartache. So.
Yeah. But he is arrogant enough to think that he can fight the unions and win. No, don't work that way in our country. But anyways, that's the way it's going to go. Julie says, a lot of airlines upgrade me because of my being a wheelchair user, but not all. Maybe there's a tip in that. Who knows? And Phil says, Humpty Trumpty sat on his wall. Humpty Trumpty had a great fall. Yeah, we're hoping, aren't we? All of it. I really feel sorry for the 800,000 people in the American government who have government jobs that are not being paid right now, and he's holding the common individual, the common man at ransom.
He's resolved that right now, right?
Well, he's got a temporary thing on there.
But a lot of people are afraid they're not going to get a paycheck before February 15th. So
yeah.
Which is their deadline.
He's promising them back pay, but he didn't say when.
Yeah.
So, and I feel sorry for them because a lot of those people are living from paycheck to paycheck.
And I don't think they're very highly paid either.
No.
So.
No. In fact, we looked into the minimum wage for wait staff in the States, in Florida, and what was it? $8 and something? No, it was less than that. The minimum wage was $8 and something, but if you're wait staff, it was less. It was
$5 something.
$5 something because you get tips, kind of a thing. That's not right. People can't live off that kind of money. And I don't know how many people are huge tippers. I mean, maybe, but I don't know. It's just not right at all. Phyllis says they're saying January 31st paycheck. Julie says
Hopefully.
Hope they do get it. We are lucky with our grandson. His school has 13 kids in one class. This is certainly not the same for most schools. No. And I know that the education system in the States is a little different from ours because they have different levels of schooling. They have something called charter schools, which I don't pretend that I understand how those work completely. And then, of course, they have things that are a more private, exclusive school where people pay for that. And then they have, of course, the public system, which sounds like it's pretty crappy. We have private schools, but not that many.
But not very many people use that.
No, and our public system is funded by the government, and it's a pretty good system, actually. But, of course, healthcare and education are where the politicians go first to save money by cutting. And that's why the teachers' unions have become so strong, because they've had to fight for years and years and years. And teachers in Canada do get paid better than teachers do in the States. But that's because of our unions and that kind of thing. But teachers still don't make What a teacher does on a daily basis is the equivalent of what does more than what a CEO of a major corporation really does. And they make hundreds of thousands of dollars. Teachers do not. I mean, I was a department head. I managed a department of 25 people. And I did not make over $100,000 a year for that. Yet, CEOs of small companies that are out there who manage not that many more people make 3 times what I made with it. Plus, really, a CEO, how hard's your bloody job? I mean it. Like, yeah, you have meetings all the time with other people, but you have minions. I didn't have minions for it. Everything I did, from the most basic cut and paste to photocopying, to lesson planning, grading papers, dealing with psychological problems with kids, dealing with their parents, dealing with administrators, dealing with the public, dealing with politics, dealing with unions, the whole bit. I did it all. Every teacher does it all. CEOs do not do it all. They have assistants. I did not have assistants. Although occasionally some people got a student teacher and treated them like assistants. I stopped taking student teachers years ago, but that's a story for another day, why I did that. Phyllis says charter schools are for profit. Big business, some excellent, some not. Here a student teacher has to work for no pay. Well, yeah, student teachers in ours work for no pay too. It's part of your practicum to get your teaching degree out of it all. So yeah, it's a tough life, but I chose it, and for the most part I enjoyed it. So as simple as that. Okay, moving on here. How's our time? How are we doing? Oh, not good. We haven't had a freeze up. That's good. So what are we watching on TV? Well, I started watching something in the States called The Tomorrow People, which was kind of interesting. Didn't get through the whole season of it. Wanted to watch it here on Netflix. It was a Netflix production. Lo and behold, we can't see it in Canada because apparently Netflix has different programming that's only allowed in the United States, and it doesn't come to Canada, even though it's the same company. So, didn't see the rest of that. So, that was interesting. And then we watched a movie this week called Tau, which is sort of a science fiction thing. It wasn't bad. It was a little different, kind of an AI thing, artificial intelligence, and a guy kidnaps this woman, and he's doing experiments on her, and he has a robot that's controlled by Tau, who's basically a killing machine, and this guy's a sadistic bastard, and yeah, it's an okay little amusing time waster you don't have to think too much about. And I did watch, while I was in the States, how ironic, this 4-part series on Trump, like his beginnings and where he is today. That was actually really enlightening. I highly recommend it. I think it's just called Trump. Although Americans probably don't really want to watch something like that because they're living it. But whatever. On YouTube. Now, I'm putting a shout out to a guy who has a YouTube channel. He's only had it for a little while. I am going to review it more formally on my next week's vlog. But he goes by, it's called Bootsy Sweet Tarts. Okay, Bootsy is spelled Bootise, and then Sweet Tarts, like the candy, Sweettarts. And it's a crafting, knitting, quilting, gardening, it's a little bit of everything. He doesn't have a ton of videos yet because he's only just really recently got started into us. But we met him at the resort. We were at the guest house we were staying at in Fort Lauderdale. He and his partner, very nice gentleman. And so we got talking about YouTube channels and stuff like that. So I told him that I would pass the information on to my viewers. So check it out. It's kind of fun. He's a little quirky in a nice way. So check it out. Bootsy Sweet Tarts. And let's see, reading, same old book. Moving on. What's cooking? Last night, we had lettuce wraps a la Walter. Where did we have the? Oh, we
P.F.
went to
Chang's.
P.F. Chang's. It's a kind of an Asian food place when we were in Fort Lauderdale, sort of upper scale kind of one. And we ordered as an appetizer the lettuce wraps. And I've seen lettuce wraps before, but I've never really had them. And they were very tasty. And I thought, hey, this is a good way if you want to have something that's tasty, but you can also make them pretty low in calories, depending on what you stuff in them. And so you sort of make your own. Like they bring you this plate of stuff and you put them in the lettuce leaf and away you go. So Walter decided to do his own version on them last night for dinner. Was it last night?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, last night. They were quite tasty. Not the same as P.F. Chang's. We're trying to figure out they had crunchy bits in them there. And
It was, I think, I figured out what it was later. It was water chestnuts. I thought it was bamboo shoots, but it was water chestnuts. So mine had bamboo shoots in them.
which were okay as well
Yeah.
with them. But it was kind of something a little different and kind of interesting. So that was what's cooking this week. And already said that tonight we're having low-cal fish and chips.
So after the hot dogs,
Yeah,
I'm not that
but-
hungry anymore. But
Oh,
anyway.
now you don't want that?
I don't know yet. We'll figure that out.
I'm glad his birthday only comes but once a year because he's a pain for about 3 days with it. He just makes it linger and linger and linger, whatever. But Carol's here. Phyllis says, "Beautiful Boy with Steve Carell on Amazon Prime is excellent and tragic but true."
Hmm.
And another one that I heard some talk about is that Sex Education, they call it. And that's supposed to be pretty good. Oh, you're writing that down? Yeah. So have to check those out as well. I'm very far behind in my YouTube videos, actually, to the point of my watch later list, because when we were in Fort Lauderdale, I didn't get much time to watch these things. Plus, Creativation was on, and I was saving those to a playlist. I'll watch those later. And and with taking all these stupid quilting classes now, I mean, have no time at all to be sitting in front of a boob tube, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, so what's coming up? Well, you already know about classes. Walter's got classes too. He did his first class this week on Friday night, his beginner quilting class. And what did you do?
We cut fabric
Ooh,
and we started sewing
and what are you sewing?
blocks.
And what are those blocks going to become?
More blocks.
And when you put all the blocks together, what will it be?
It's going to be a table runner.
Okay, there you go. So he's learning some basics there. And then we both have a class together. We're going to make one of those floor mats, the ones where they make it out of a jelly roll, the spiral, the braided rug.
It looks
kind
like a
of thing.
braided rug, but it's made out of material.
Yeah, I wasn't that interested in it, but he's taking it, so I thought I'd take it too. So we'll see how that works out.
It's supposed to be a lot of sewing.
Yeah, I think it is. Oh, Carol says, "Happy birthday, Walter. Nice hat and glasses."
Yeah, thanks.
It's
the only dollar store hat I could find.
And it cost $1.25.
Yeah.
It was the more expensive hat. He got the high-end hat.
What do you mean the high-end hat? They
You
didn't
paid
have
a
any
quarter
low-end
more.
hats.
Yeah, whatever.
They had ones that the other ones they had were all French. Had French on them,
Oh,
and I don't think it said "Happy Birthday."
maybe it said "You're a shithead." And,
Yeah, I don't know.
Happy birthday, shithead. I don't know in French.
Well, maybe that's because Dollarama is based out of France,
Out of
out of Quebec.
yeah. Oh,
Frog-
maybe.
Frogs.
And let's see. On Friday, I'm doing this sewing retreat with my guild. It's not an out-of-town one, so you don't stay in a hotel or anything. You just come home. I'm only doing 2 out of 3 days, as I said before, because I've got art journaling class on Sunday. So a busy weekend. And just as a reminder, next week, Stephen and Walter Live will be 1 hour later because I'm teaching an art journal class, and you know the routine. So we'll be on at 5 p.m. as opposed to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's next week. And I think that does it.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything you want to say? Anything we have forgotten?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I think it's time to decide whether or not we're going to have fish and chips. Jody says, I host retreats, so I'm looking forward to hearing about yours. Yep, it should be a scream and a half. I think I'm the only guy at it.
Probably.
Well, there's only one other guy in the guild, and he doesn't come to all the meetings, so I don't know. I'll be the token male, so we'll see. I am sure there'll be a lot of women there who will be looking over my shoulder because you're going, oh, it's a man doing this. Oh, does he really know how to run the machine? Do you know how to plug it in, sweetie? Yes, I do. So, anyways, on that note, I think it's time to go bye-bye, and hope you have a good week, and we'll see everybody next week, 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Bye for now. Say goodbye, Walter.
Bye, Walter.